Okay, well, welcome everybody. This is the Confo webinar on maximizing your results with Smartsheet, and we're doing a semiconductor focused session today. This session is being recorded. I'm Mike Fritsch. You can see a little bit about me there on the cover sheet. Basically spent most of my life in semiconductor and a lot of time with Smartsheet. So hopefully I've got some things I can share with you. The company is Confo, and we've been around since 2002. Most of our work is in the semiconductor area. You can see we've worked with almost every capital equipment maker existing, and some of those in the past, as well as a number of fabs. Two primary areas that we work in. We have a product called Clearview that reduces the cost, time, and risk to perform, manage, and improve tool installations, both for the tool maker and for the fab owner. And the other side is our Confo Smart Solutions. And those are targeted optimizations and automations that utilize Smartsheet. And so Smartsheet's what we're going to talk about today. The agenda for today is as follows. We're going to talk a little bit about what Smartsheet is and how you can use it. We'll walk through a Confo Smartsheet solution, a real solution, and see it in action. And then we'll review how to get started. And I'll go through those first three items. I'll try to keep it under 30 minutes because I know this is lunch hour for some of you folks. And then I'll stay on and we can do a deeper dive in an after session where we can explore in more detail, or I can show you some more examples. So as we go through, hold your questions, and we'll go ahead and address those all at the end. So let's get started. So studies show that productivity investments, there's a lot of money in hardware and software that companies are making, but the people productivity, the human productivity, is been largely flat. So I don't know if that's your experience in your company, but I know I've been there where you implement a new piece of software, a big ERP system, and somehow life maybe doesn't get easier, it actually gets harder. And so, when we look at that and look at business challenges, often you're faced with kind of some unpleasant choices. First is, well, I've got this existing ERP system. I'm trying to make it do something I want, and I'm just going to force it. It's the classic square peg in the round hole. Or, gosh, it didn't quite work. I shoved it in there and it's still not working. Let me see what I can do in Excel or an Access database or SharePoint. And so you make an elaborate and complex Excel sheet or sheets, kind of kludge a system together, and like number two there, you've got kind of a Rube Goldberg contraption that gets the work done, but it's not very robust, and maybe relies on one person who knows how it's all been put together. Typically, you end up sending a bunch of emails, and so if you're not buried in emails today, you will be after you try to solve the new challenge. Or maybe you go ahead and just schedule a lot of coordination meetings to try to figure out what's happening and to make things get better. And of course, I think most of us don't desire more meetings. So, you look at these alternatives and you say, man, is there a better way that we could do this? And we found one that works in a lot of situations. And so our smart solutions, as I said, really utilize Smartsheets to fix a lot of those problems. And we've seen some pretty good results. Eliminating over 400 emails a week for one process, getting rid of a bunch of manual forecasting work, streamlining workflows, reducing meetings. So, potentially some really good things that can be accomplished. And, so we've recognized Smartsheet as a great tool for us and for our clients, and we're really not alone. If you take a look at some of the world's largest companies and organizations, you'll see that Smartsheet's being used by over 75% of the companies in the Fortune 500, over 90% in the Fortune 100, and a lot of well-known names, as you can see here on the slide. And a lot of folks in the semiconductor industry are using it. So we're in good company. We feel good leveraging it as a tool to help solve your problems in semiconductor. Some of the things that we've done with that as a tool are, optimizing and automating workflows. And in fact, the example that I will show you today is around a request management workflow. So that's the live example that we'll see. But a lot of work with helping you make better, faster decisions with live dashboards, both embedded in Smartsheet itself or linked into Microsoft Power BI or Tableau, because there's some pretty easy integrations there. Done some optimized forecasting work and a lot of legacy ERP automation. Here, what we've seen is either, you've had some mergers or some acquisitions, and so you've got disparate, different systems that your various business units are on, and trying to work with those all together can sometimes be very difficult. Or maybe you're in, the spares planning area or a logistics area, and your customers are giving you demanded inputs in different formats from their ERP systems, and you've got to kind of deal with all those different things. So we've tackled stuff in various realms, kind of as depicted on this slide. And what we'll talk about today and see it in action is automating a workflow. And the workflow we're going to talk about, and this is a demo example, so it's not any real client or real data, but this is a request management workflow. And for this example, imagine that you are maybe in charge of a purchasing department or the spares department, and your field engineers in the field offices, they need to occasionally get some specialized tools, multimeters, vibration analysis tools, positioning tools, and they've got some in the offices, but every now and then they need new ones. And so you want to, if you're sitting here, I'm sitting as the manager of that procurement department, and I want to see all the requests that are coming into me. I kind of want to see them by category, and then I want to assign them out to my planners and see what the status is. So I'm going to build a workflow and build a structure that will allow me to do this and do it in a very automated and easy fashion. So, a request management workflow, obviously I said, hey, that's pretty common. If you speak generically or think about your own situation, anything where you're going to collect requests or collect information, process that, and then report it out. That's a workflow process, right? So it's very common. We've seen it in IT, facilities, purchasing, marketing, IT department, help desk, or, request for new keyboards, facilities, hey, my desk needs rearranging, or I need a new power plug, that sort of thing. But often the process looks like this, right? You're gonna collect some information, so you gotta get that somehow. Maybe you're doing it now with a bunch of phone calls or with a bunch of emails, but you got to grab some information. You get that information, you got to store it, and then you've got to do some stuff with it. Maybe there's approval, there's some type of actions that you have to take. And throughout that process, you want to keep track of it so you know what's going on, and you want to really be able to see and show how you're doing. And so that's typically kind of the things that you're going to do as part of a request management workflow. And so when we do that in Smartsheet, kind of the structure that we take that's very easy to do is, we start with a request form. So we can collect it through a form, and I'm going to show you that. We store it in a sheet that we call a tracker sheet. And then we build some automations on that sheet so that we can do things like approvals and take action on it. And then we want to keep track, and we'll do that through a report sheet and a metric sheet that are linked. And then to wind it all together, put a bow on it, we will create a dashboard that we can take a look and see a holistic view, a portal into what's going on. And so for today's example, this is what it's going to look like. So as we jump into the live demo with a little bit of training, I will take you and show you each of these things: the request form, the tracker sheet, the metrics and request report, and then the actual final dashboard. And so kind of keep this in mind as the framework of how you would build a request management workflow, and then a framework of kind of what we're going to walk through. So here, let's go. So we start out and we start with the request form. And again, what we do is a Smartsheet request form. Smartsheet has built-in forms, so you don't have to do anything. They're easily configured and managed. I'll show you that. The nice thing is that request can go to and come from anyone. They don't have to be a Smartsheet user. So you don't have to purchase licenses for people to interact with you and to collaborate. It's easily shared. You can do it by email. You can put it in a dashboard. You can publish it on a website, and it's mobile enabled. The screenshot on the right is just, I did a little screenshot off of my phone and pasted it in here. So I can get the request form on my phone, fill it out on my phone, and go from there, which is really great for field workers like your field engineers. So that's the beginning. That's getting that information in. That's with the request form. Then we've got to collect that, put it in one place, and take some action on it. That is our tracker sheet. And so again, Smartsheet information, storing that, a tracker sheet, which is a Smartsheet. Important to know is that the forms automatically bring the information in to the tracker sheet. You don't have to do manual entry or double entry. It comes in automatically. The sheet's going to be the foundation of everything we do. It's going to store our data. It's going to be the place where we act on our data. We're going to organize it, prioritize it, assign it to people, basically move it through the process. When you look at a sheet, you can look at it in multiple ways. These multiple views that I'm talking about have the ability to take a look like a grid, a calendar, a Gantt, a card view. Most often, you're probably going to work in the sheet view. The nice thing there is it's going to look like Excel. I love that because everybody knows how to interact with it. It means that your training and adoption is really, really easy. But it's a lot more than Excel because it has a lot of unique capabilities, some of which I'll show you today. And there's multiple automations built in that are easy to harness and use. So we'll show you that as well. So we took the information with the request form. We automatically fill it into our tracker sheet. We've got the automations built to do things with it. And now we need to keep track of what's going on and kind of measure ourselves. And we do that with a request report and with the metrics sheet. So we keep track through reports and metrics. Important to note that the reports are two-way. So this is one of the unique features in Smartsheet that's really powerful. You can interact in the report and update data on the source tracker sheet. So you don't have to jump back and forth real time. You're looking at this stuff. So again, you can aggregate and analyze your data in real time. This allows you to answer your key business questions. You basically see what's happening very easily. All right, and so once you've done that, then we can bring that all together and put that into a management status dashboard that either you as the manager or your bosses can look at or the executives can look at. And you've got the ability to share that internally and externally as appropriate. And so again, back to the framework, we've got these elements of it. And now let's take a look at it, and we'll look at it live. All right, and so Smartsheet is cloud-based. It's secure. It's like your Office 365, anything else in the cloud. And what I've done is in my browser, here I am logged in to my Smartsheet instance. It's important to note that your login is secured. You're authenticated, and so you only see what you're given permission to see. So nobody else can see this stuff. It's all secured. I really love, one of the things about Smartsheet I really love is the ability to organize things. The folder is called a workspace. And the nice thing about a workspace is that security and that collaboration. With the workspace, everything that I do inside that workspace is shared to folks that are given authority and authorization to the workspace itself. So if you look on the right here, you can see the list of users who have permissions to go in and edit and take action on all of the sheets in here. And what that means is if I were to add a new sheet, I wouldn't have to reset permissions. but this makes it really easy to navigate, keep track of things, and let's start walking through things live. So I'm going to start with a public dashboard. So one of the things you can do is you can take any Smartsheet element and you can publish it out to the web if you like. Now, if you do a pure publishing, then it's free for anybody to look at with the URL. They don't have to log in. So you use this function judiciously. But I wanted to show this as an example. Where there's information that you can freely share that folks want to see and you don't have any security concerns, this is a great way to be able to share things. And so I've done that example here. I made a copy of the dashboard we're going to work with to make sure that I indicated that it was public and it was view only. But I can come in here as any user and I can navigate through, so I can go up and down on my open request. Think of this as maybe you would have suppliers that you're working with and you want them to be able to see the status of something, and there's nothing confidential that anybody you're worried about, they can just come take a look at it. Or vice versa, maybe there's a customer and you do a dashboard for them. So there's a lot of ways that you can take advantage of this. So it's an ability, you may use it or you may not, but certainly what you will use is the internal dashboard, and that is this here. And so this dashboard, like everything else in Smartsheet, again, your access to it is secure and it's by your authorization. You can come in here and you can share it with individuals. You can give them permissions of being only a viewer or an editor, that sort of thing. The thing I love about the dashboard is that it's very easy to configure. So if I come in here and I go and edit, I can come in and I can do things like add a new widget, a metric, I can do a shortcut, I can add web content like a video or just an image. I won't do that. But I can also go in here and alter things like, let's say I've got this graph. If I wanted to change it to a bar graph instead of a pie chart, I could do that. Let's see, so here I am looking at, I like the pie chart better, so I'm going to keep it as that. But I can do those things. And so I don't have to go to the IT department. I don't have to bring in an expert. Really, it's very easy to learn this. And so you can self-service taking care of this. And so see if you, as we look at this, you can take a look. These are live, they're interactive. And so just kind of notice, we've got two things at the top here. As I go through, I'm going to take some action, and when we come back to it, we'll see three things at the top. So again, this is that final output. This is that dashboard that you're going to use as a manager or a supervisor, or maybe share with your executives. All right, so where do we start? Remember, we start with the form. And so I've created a form here. I can interact with this on my computer or on my phone. Let's do an example. So I'm going to be Wile E. Coyote, spelled wrong, and I'm going to do a multimeter. I'm out of Austin, and I need one of these SKey 4500s. I don't need it till December 4th, but you know what? It's urgent. Because if I don't have it, there's a reason. Now, best practice would be to define what urgent means, but we don't need to worry about that. So let's put in, I still want to be Wile E. Coyote, so I'm not going to let that. Let's put in my manager's name for approval and drag and drop. You can have attachments in Smartsheet. And let's say I'm an engineer and say, hey, I want this particular multimeter. I'm going to attach you the screenshot of what it looks like. Or imagine you're an engineer in the field. Maybe you're ordering parts. You're having trouble with part identification. You could take a picture off of your phone of the part in question, attach it to the form, and send it in. So lots of capabilities there. So we can hit submit. And I want to have a copy of this sent to me. So I'm going to type in my email address there. You'll see that it autofilled the email if I'm logged in, but I don't want to use that for this demo. So I'm going to go ahead and put in, and then I just hit submit. Okay. Now I get notification, so now I know that it has been added, and so we've started that that process of putting things into the tracker. All right, so here we are at the tracker, and the tracker sheet again. This is that base data sheet. This is where everything's being kept. This is also where we create the forms. So if I come over here, I can look at forms. And just as an aside, you'll see that there's been changes made to the sheet, and it's giving us an update. And it says hit refresh, because what it's not going to refresh, it'll refresh automatically for me, but while I'm working in it, it won't refresh so that I'm aware of what's going on. But I'm going to finish my forms. I can come in here, manage forms. I created this form. Let me go in. I want to edit it. Let's say I say, you know, these instructions are not good enough. I want to say, make sure to include the model number. I'm just making this up. This is, but I can do that as I put that in, and now I hit save, and so I've updated the form, right? If I go in here, I can go to different categories. I can make fields required or not. Very easy to create a form. Well, let's go back to the sheet though. So we came in and you saw that we had a refresh come in, that there was some new line. By default, every new form, when it comes in and adds a row. There's some other features and functionalities that I'd like to show you. You can have a auto-filled field. So my request ID is auto-numbered. Everything I go in there, it gives me it automatically assigns a number to it. So that's a very good feature. But let's say here I am, I'm the procurement manager. I see this new, everybody's going wild for SK 4500s for some reason. I go in, okay, I know now that that's very expensive. So I'm going to go ahead and say I need to have an approval request submitted. And I'm going to say, well, I know it's not started, and I'm going to assign it to one of my planners. I'm going to give it over to Tim. So I've entered that information. I'm going to hit save by protocol. And so I've got this in here. You'll notice, remember I attached a screenshot. I can come in here, open that up, and I can see the bird and go, okay, yeah, it's this meter. Now, as the other thing I could do straight in the sheet is I can come in and I can have a conversation. So I could come in and make a comment like, maybe I know this is currently back ordered. May want another. And within here, now I'm playing as myself all roles, but this would show up in my notification center. And I could, if I were in Smartsheet, I could come in and say, substitute with an SK 5500, for example. And my typing is atrocious, but we've got the record of the conversation here, and we have no problem kind of keeping track of what's going on. So the other feature I'd like to show you is we have the ability to do conditional formatting. So I've made this so that if the status becomes closed, then your thing turns green. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to have this, the row will turn green. So if I come in here, and you know what, we've actually gotten approved, and Maggie went ahead and closed that request, then my row turns green, I know that it's been closed. And if I want to see the history of that, I can right click on a cell. I can view cell history, and I can see everything that happened, date time stamped by who did it. So that gives you really great capability to kind of see what's going on. All right, so we played with the tracker sheet, and I want to show you then the next functionality, which are the metrics and the reporting. So let's go over to the report sheet. So a report sheet, as I said, is a two-way sheet. It links you in. It's very easy to make. It links you into one or more Smartsheets. You just click here. You can say, here's where I want to go it. You have the ability to add or take away columns. So let's say I wanted to also see the requester's name. I could add that just with a little click. Let's just do that. I'm going to do that. But there's also conditioning. So you'll notice that I'm going to show anything that's in progress, is not started, or is blank. I'm excluding from this report anything that's complete. So let's go in, and as I said, these are two ways. If I come in and I've got this fluke 115 and I'm Maggie, if once I could close it in this report, and when we give it a second and refresh it again, it's going to disappear from this report because it's closed. I don't have to see anything that's in progress. So that shows you how you can be very directive with what's going on. If I come back to my tracker, then I can see that that was closed, and now that line is green. The final element that is part of the Smartsheet setup is to do a metric sheet. And this references the other sheet, and then it takes advantage of very good functionality with formulas. So there's formulas that'll look familiar to you if you're an Excel user. Many are similar, some are different, but this gives you the ability to go, hey, I want to have the count of everything that has to do with not started, in progress, or closed. So I can run metrics that way. I can do a metric around average days. And so all of this then is what I use to feed back into my dashboard. So if I come back to the dashboard, then you can see that some of the numbers have changed. And remember I said, look at the top, because we only had 2 urgent items there. And you can see now with the work that we've done, we're now at 3. All right, so you can see in real time this stuff is happening. At the side, you can do number of links to do things like job aids, that sort of thing. So I can have a quick link here if I wanted to go right to the tracker sheet. I can click from the dashboard. If I wanted to go right to the open request, I click from the dashboard, I go back here, and then I could attach a number of different things, PDFs or Excel sheets, and I'll just show you quickly on how you do that. If we come in here, I can attach a link I can add a shortcut to any URL. I can do it to any file. And I can attach it from a number of places, or I can attach a link to another Smartsheet item. So you can see that it's very, very easy to update or configure a dashboard and to make it very user-friendly or to incorporate something new that you need. So that's what I wanted to show you today, live dashboard. We can go and for those of you that can stay on, we can go as a deeper dive. But the last thing I wanted to mention, next to last thing I want to mention is that the other nice thing is Smartsheet has a lot of, they have a lot of ways to integrate with leading cloud applications and other applications that are out there. You can see the list here. We do a lot of work with Microsoft, with Office 365, with Power BI. We've done work with other things, but that makes it very nice for your ecosystem to integrate, and they're very robust. So how do you get started? You can stay for the Q&A session after this. We'll do some more demos. I can show you some other examples. If you'd like a free analysis session, basically want to sit down and say, hey, Mike, I've got this issue. Do you think Smartsheet could solve it? Book some time with me, and I'll have these links in the LinkedIn webinar discussion page right after this. If you want to just talk to me, send me an email, or if you want to get started on a free trial, I can send you a trial code and you get going with it. So those are the resources, and we'll move on to the Q&A session. And I'll pause here. If you've got to jump off, thank you so much for your time. If you can stay on, I will be more than happy to answer questions, and I'm going to stop.